Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Titans, Season 1, Episode 3, Origins. Overall, this is a good episode, but I don't think it's quite as good as the first two. It does slow down just a little bit. And it doesn't really give any origin stories, so the title's kind of misleading. Although we do learn a little bit more about Dick. So the opening scene is literally continued from the last episode. It's kind of funny because they had the previously on, and then it just goes right into the next one. It even kind of overlaps a little bit. And we see Rachel being kidnapped by the nuclear family, and Kori is just kind of sitting in her car watching them. And then it kind of does a flashback to 2 days ago at Rachel's house, and we see Kori in there. She pretends to be a detective for a minute and just beats the shit out of these cops. It was kind of a badass scene. Kori ends up catching up with the nuclear family, and it was kind of funny because they're playing car bingo and stuff like this, and she just torches the dad. So once again we see her powers kind of coming out, but she kind of controlled it more this time. We get a lot of flashbacks, like I said, of young Dick Grayson and him learning how his parents could have been murdered rather than died by accident, and how basically him just being a juvenile, and he's trying to actually find his parents' killers so he can kill them. So he wants to get revenge rather than justice. And it's kind of funny or interesting in a filmmaker's standpoint, where you don't actually see Batman at any point. You always see him in the shadows, or he puts his hand on his chest, and clearly that's just for the directors and the writers and the producers, because if Batman ends up being a character in future episodes or the next season, they want a big name actor, so they don't just want to cast him willy-nilly for these little few scenes. So that's kind of interesting. The scene where Rachel and Kori are at the restaurant is just it's awful, but in a great sort of way, where they're trying to order their food, and this guy's just making an ass out of himself, and Kori's like, Rachel, go wait in the car. And so she goes and waits, and Kori just starts kicking ass once again. And then it's the scene that gets me is where she grabs the fork, and the guy goes to punch her, and she holds the fork out, and he punches the fork. It just made my skin crawl. It was a terrible scene. It was graphic. So from there, let's see, they punch the fork, the car, the nun, they end up going to this monastery, and the nun recognizes both Kori and Rachel from when she was a little girl. We see the nuclear family go to their boss, Dr. Adamson or something, and it's kind of a scary scene where he's making omelets, and he's like, I'm gonna blow you guys all up. So I don't know if, I'm assuming they have a chip in their head or some cliche like that where he's gonna blow them up. And he talks about how Rachel's father will reveal us and stuff like that, which again, I'm trying to keep this in its own little universe, not Teen Titans, not Young Justice, not the comic books, nothing like that. I know who Rachel's father is from those perspectives, but I'm trying to keep it completely separate. So I'm like, oh, who is her father? What is this going to be about? Let's see, Kori had the key this whole time, and it ended up going to an arcade, which had another key into it, and so it's just one thing leading to another, to another, to another, and it's this awesome little trail going on that I'm really, really enjoying. We finally see Gar join the ranks, and so does Dick, so we actually see all four of them kind of together for just a little bit. The nuns kidnapping Rachel was a little bit messed up. I'm presuming they locked her in there so she could starve to death or something. They don't really say anything. It's just we all have to make sacrifices. But it was a little messed up. Let's see. Dick found Kori in the storeroom, which is where the second key led, and it's just full of pictures of ravens and foreign language that Kori can read but she can't understand, and all sorts of stuff. And then kind of the big cliffhanger was the church exploding and them going to go see what happened as we see Rachel run away. Overall, it was a good episode. It was a really interesting, well done one, but it wasn't as good as the first two. For those who have seen this one, what did you guys think about the whole origin stories that didn't really exist in this episode? Thank you guys for everything, and I will see you guys next time for the backdoor pilot episode, Doom Patrol.